Oh hey guys, excuse me, I was just admiring my beautiful bike here. So recently I got a comment on a video asking about how to convince your parents to let you get a motorcycle, e-bike, whatever, and it gave me the idea to make a fun little story time video on how I got my first motorcycle. So let's do it. I don't know what I'm doing with my hands, but let's do it. Whew, it's a nice warm 42 degrees today in Philadelphia, so of course we're riding. We'll take that in the middle of February. But anyways, my first bike, guys. So yeah, I just want to talk about how I got it, what I got, all that jazz. Let's roll another stoppie first. Slowly getting better. So guys, I've been into motorcycles my entire life, ever since I was a wee lad. From what I can remember, I was always very much into motorcycles, always wanted one. However, my parents were not necessarily fans of it. Understandably so, especially with what I do now. But it was never really an option for me growing up to get a motorcycle. Especially not at like 13, 14, 15 years old. Not at all, because one, I didn't make enough money to buy one, and two, I couldn't buy because my parents wouldn't let me. So I've always been into bikes, always wanted them, always followed, you know, motocross, X Games, all that stuff growing up, because I really wanted to ride. Always wanted a dirt bike. But I never could get one until the year 2020, I think it was. I'll correct it in the video if it's not, but it was either 2019 or 2020 is when I actually went and bought my first bike. I was, I believe, 20 years old. Now, the context here is that I was a college student. I did not have a lot of money, and my parents also still did not want me to get a motorcycle. They actively said, no, you can't get one, even though I talked to them about it for years. They could never be convinced. But being the passionate 20-year-old I was at the time, I finally just said, I'm not taking no for an answer. I worked hard all summer, made enough money to buy a bike, but it wasn't even a lot of money. It was like 800 bucks. But I also had to pay for miscellaneous stuff like textbooks and food and all that during college. So it's still a lot for me at the time. Again, it is 2020, we'll say. I am in college. I still live at home with my parents when I'm not at college. So they're still completely against motorcycles, but I finally have had enough. And I would say this is probably like among the more rebellious things that I've done as a child. However, we got green yet? No. However, I decided, you know what, I don't care, I'm going to buy a motorcycle. My good buddy, also at the time, had just bought a motorcycle, Benelli TNT 135. We're talking all gas bikes here. And I really wanted a motorcycle. I always wanted one, and I finally got to the point where I said, screw it, I'm gonna find a bike, I'm gonna buy it, and I'm gonna hide it from my parents. So my budget at the time, again, was super low. So I was literally looking at bikes that were sub $1,000. So if you look on Marketplace, you can't find a ton of great options for that price point. So I was looking under $1,000, and I just so happened to find a 1996 Suzuki GN 125, which that bike is actually pretty rare in the US. It's a really small displacement bike, so they didn't make a ton of them in the US, yet somehow I was able to find, you know, the lowest CC bike possible. But it was really just all about the price point. It was only 800 bucks when I got it. It had like 2,000-3,000 miles, and it's actually the bike that really started the motorcycle portion of my channel. But basically, I found that bike. My buddy Brandon was all on board with going with me out to get it. We used his uncle's truck to go get the bike, and basically we drove out there. It was in Red Lion, PA, which is probably like 2-3 hours from Philly, and we bought it on site. We rolled into the back of the truck. I actually have a whole video on this, buying this bike, you know, 5-6 years ago, whenever it was. Pretty cool. I'll link that in the description. But again, guys, so now I have purchased a motorcycle. Oh geez Louise, I've purchased a motorcycle, and damn, everyone's getting close today. And the issue is, I bought it over the summer, so like we're at home, I'm not at school, I don't have like a dorm or something to hide it in. So I literally just keep the bike at my buddy Brandon's. He's got a shed with a couple of bikes in it, so I just am hiding my motorcycle at my buddy Brandon's house. So I bought this thing. Parents had no clue. It needed some work done to it, like carb work, which we did all at Brandon's house to get it actually running properly. I went probably a solid 3 months with keeping it there until eventually I made a silly mistake. So basically, I naturally insured the bike so it would be all street legal and I can get a tag and everything. And when I did that, I wasn't really thinking, the insurance, Geico, I think whoever I used, would send the new insurance information via mail. So one day I'm at work, I come home, and my dad shows me the mail and says, what is this 1996 Suzuki? Which we obviously all know what that was. And let's just say they weren't thrilled. They definitely weren't thrilled with me. You know, when they first found out, they said, you know what, you're gonna have to sell it, blah, blah, blah. But what was really cool about it is I think they just realized how much passion I actually had for motorcycles and how into it I was. So there was talks of me having to sell it, quote unquote, for a little while, but eventually all those talks went away and I kept the bike, which was awesome. That was a bigger curve than expected. But yeah, guys, long story short, of course I didn't sell the bike. You'll see a plethora of videos on my channel on that bike, builds, videos, motovlogs, all the above. So that's the bike that really started it all. And it's a real bike, you know. That was back when I rode real bikes. Now I ride these electric bikes that aren't real. Yeah, so that was how I got my first bike. And again, my parents weren't thrilled with me, but I think the biggest things were, one, they understood this was an inevitability and it was gonna happen at some point. Two, you know, I worked and bought the motorcycle with all my own money, even though they're like, hey, we still pay for your house and food and all that back when I lived at home, which was completely fair. But I think they just ended up being cool about it. They didn't make me sell it. I was able to keep it, made a bunch of videos on it. Let's roll a stoppie. Woo. But yeah, so not the best way to approach it, but also not the worst. You know, I bought it against their will. I had talked about it for years. I'd always said, Mom, I'm gonna buy one, I'm gonna buy one, I'm gonna buy one. My mom was the one who really didn't like it just because she's worried about safety. And, you know, now every time she watches my YouTube videos, she also makes the same comments, rightfully so, of course. We do get a little crazy out here. I don't really recommend that or condone it, but for me, it was the way to finally get into the scene. And then once I got that bike, the bike after that I got was an R3, a Yamaha R3. And then bikes in my life were just normal at that point. So there was no sort of further arguments about whether I ride or don't ride. Plus, in 2020, I graduated from college. I actually moved out anyways, so I had the GN 125 when I graduated. Then I sold it, got an R3. Then I sold the R3, got a CRF 250L, supermotoed it, did all that. Then I got the Razor, then a Talaria, and here we are now. So that's kind of a history of how I got my first motorcycle, and it was technically against my parents' will, but my parents are awesome and understanding, so they just want, you know, me to be safe. So I get it, but yeah, that's how I got my first bike. Now we're at the cafe and we can see if anyone is here. Guys, I feel like she looks so damn good with the upgraded suspension and everything. The only thing we really need to do at this point is just fix the foot brake. I've got a new line coming for it because this got squeezed and it doesn't work anymore. Probably just some new grips because my cats chewed these and I've also fallen on them. But yeah, outside of that, I mean, this bike is pretty much done. The only other thing, obviously, is when we go back to supermotos. But I have an extra Shinko I might just put on first and run these because I actually really like the way that the bike looks. With the full dirt bike setup. One thing that some people might ask is, will I ever get another gas bike? And here is a Suron. No, it's a Triple X actually. A Triple X in the wild, that's funny. He doesn't even see me. Dude has no clue. I'm wheeling behind him. What's good, bro? How you doing? Good, you got the same setup number plate. It looks good, dude.
Just got it.
Oh, you just got it? Hell yeah.
Coming from a Super 73, definitely.
From a Super 73? Yeah, it's way better than that. You get the full suspension and no pedals. It's just like a dirt bike. What's your name, by the way, bro? Pierre? Connor, nice to meet you, dude. Pierre, shout out Pierre. Anyways, what I was talking about, will I get another gas bike? Guys, the legit answer is probably, yeah, I think I'm gonna get another gas bike. It's been about 1.5 years since I've had a gas bike. It feels longer than that, weirdly, but there's a lot of conveniences to gas bikes, and I just, you know, came up loving and riding gas bikes, so I'd really like to get another gas bike. I'm thinking something that also would be nice to, like, commute to my job, which is like 28 miles, so I don't know. If you guys want to see gas bike content on the channel, definitely let me know. I think I'm gonna do it regardless, so if you want to see the content, great. If not, I don't really have to record it, so let me know in the comments. I know most people here are here for the electric stuff at this point. Bald tires. If you ask me what gas bike would I get, I don't know. I kind of like the idea of a Grom or a Z125. And the conveniences I talk about are just like being able to fill it up with gas and literally ride it the entire day. And like to my job, for instance, I don't want to ride this there. It'd be probably like a Grom Z125 that I could stun out. Or I might do like a bigger 250, maybe something similar to my old GN 125. And I could do a little kind of scrambler build. We'll see. I don't know. It's all just an idea. And it'll be nice when we get the foot brake back. Oh my god, that was a divot. Pop through here real quick. So nice doing this on the new forks. Alright guys, where a better place to end this than at the Penn's Landing sign. You'll know this if you've ever watched It's Always Sunny in Philly. It's in the intro. But I hope you guys enjoyed this first rendition of Storytime, I guess, with ConnorG Media. Let me know if you enjoy this style of content. Otherwise, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. We're nearly to 100K subs, so would love if you guys could sub. That's been a big goal for the channel, so anything helps. But otherwise, guys, plenty of videos to come. I will catch you next time, though. Peace.